Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review, episode 113. This one, I'm reviewing the 903rd episode of the anime, A Climatic Battle, Straw Hat versus the strongest ever Yokozuna. And the 956th chapter of the manga, Big News. Yeah, both of them really exciting. This episode adapts pages 6 to 15 of chapter 900, and I think it's 15, I think it is. Let me take a look here. Just to be sure about that. Yes, actually 916. Now, I forgot to mention this in last week's review, that when it comes to samurai matches, basically involving ceremony. Now, in this episode, you see Luffy throw out some rice. Or at least some powder anyways, thrown on the ground. They did this also in last week's episode. Luffy was simply respecting the samurai traditions, which at least got appreciated for doing that. And apparently he's undefeated in sumo matches. Well, mainly undefeated against Usopp. I'm like, what the heck did this happen? This is so funny. Yep. At least they show, I at least got appreciated this episode showed, like how Luffy got to the ring so quickly to block this guy's punch. What's his name? Is Orochima. Yep. So, and they fight for a pretty good period of time. One point when he blocks it with a samurai slap, his samurai slap, they nearly top both out of the ring. Luckily that they're both able to basically avoid it. And then of course, well, he says, well, I'm a sumo wrestler. I challenge you to a sumo match. Throws the rice on the ground, and the guy doesn't say he accepts it, he just says, move. Okay. And he fights him for a pretty good person. At one point, he actually started using illegal moves. Like, hey, those moves are illegal. And he says, I'm a Yokozuna. Yeah, I highly doubt that justifies basically him using illegal moves. Those who know what a Yokozuna is, from what I read about, it's the highest rank of a sumo wrestler. Yes, it's the highest rank assumed by it. And that's the reason why he's also the Grand Sumo. Oh yeah, because he's a sumo wrestler, he eats a lot, like a ton of food. That is how simply samurai wrestlers tend to do stuff. Probably also to do some exercise as well. But for some reason, I have no idea why in the world sumo wrestlers, they have to have really, really big belts. Apologies for that. The website I opened basically said I play video for like no explained reason. Anyways, they fight for a pretty period of time. Meanwhile, at Hudum's house, he's the guy with basically a lion in his frickin' belly. Yeah, he basically has Tama in his gigantic hand. He's like squeezing her, and like he has the pincers. He's getting closer and closer, and he gets interrupted by his man's like you, your Urashima basically got guys top not chopped up by a woman, and of course he probably like, so what? There's nothing I can do about it. I'm a little busy. Go away. And he starts pulling more. And of course, later when he gets this guy, he starts pulling at Tama's cheek, and it's really hurting. Eventually, Luffy defeats Hiroshima by basically using a giant sumo slap. Basically, he puts his arm way in the back like this, and forms like a giant like slap like this. Though he does this little thing when he goes to Gear 3, where he simply just blows into his own hand like that. Yeah, and he basically transfers the stuff through his body right to this arm and forms a giant slap and just uses to slap him right out of the damn ring, thus winning the match and sends him flying like very far, right to Hodum's basically his house, and drops him right on top of him. Tama escapes unscathed. He says, "Am I safe now?" Of course, he's also crying for Luffy, and he's like, "Oh yeah, I defeated the Yokozuna. Means I'm Yokozuna now." And of course, Zoro basically comes up and just sits down right next to, right in front of Luffy. It was like the crowd's like, "Oh no, it's a slash. He's the man who killed the magistrate." He's like, "So what?" Like, are the allies? And of course, the episode ends with Otaku, Zoro, and Luffy preparing for a really big sword battle, which will take place in next week's episode. Fantastic. Also, they have this little side thing with Law Beppo. That's the name of his bear navigator. And a couple. Apparently, he's gotten sick. And apparently he uses his devil power. He says, "Room, form a room, an operating room." And then he says a scan with his frickin' sword. Turns out he has the runs, and it turns out the reason why he's like this is because he ate fish from the poison river. Yep, that's the reason for this. And apparently he doesn't. And apparently Law doesn't like when he acts cute. He's a bear. Tama will get along with him perfectly fine because little girls love big bears like this. I'm sure of it. But this is just basically the comedy portion of the episode. That's simply put what it is, the comedy portion of the episode. Now moving on to news chapter of the manga, big news. We have this wonderful cover image of Lola arriving at Dressrosa. Yes, Dressrosa of all places. Yeah, the same place that I believe is under having Marine Station after the events of the event Dressrosa. Yeah, basically it's kind of like they're going backwards, basically, through the route that Luffy did when he arrived at Whole Cake. And Lola's mistaken, and Cliff is mistaken for Lola. Chapter opens up with the Fishman Island Kingdom, where Garp has taken the royal family home. Like, and of course they all appreciated seeing him. And of course, well, I like basically how how or she, I'm trying to think of her name. It's yeah, the daughter of King Neptune. Yeah, where she refers to him in here as Sir Luffy's grandfather, which I don't think he has a problem with that at all. And they talk for a little period, and they of course talk about the reverie and what they decided. One of the things they decided, maybe a better one. And apparently there's an incident in Alabasta. Yep. Go back home. And then we see Morgan's basically threatened by CP0. Says, haha, found some. This is forever. You're gonna do what we say, Morgans. Ah, it's Everball. When did they infiltrate my payroll? And then he proceeds to beat the living crap out of the CP0, the CP guy. Says, don't mess with big news Morgans if you know what's good for you. I'm the king of the news. I'm a monk hungry Scrooge. But first and foremost, I am a journalist. As the DJ of the printed page, I get people's hearts dancing. I'm the one who decides what news is fit to print. Our location is too hot. Too hot, people. We're moving office. Yes, boss. I got a message from King Warpo, Mr. Morgans. It seems he got some leaked intel. Yes, so what was decided? It's like, apparently, so, talk about what's possible. I can't believe this is what we're talking, like, first step. And we see Drag, and we see I think her name is Belle, I think her name is. And we see, Sabo, please don't be true. We lost contact with all of them. He was in Morja? My brother? Yeah, apparently Sabo was there somehow. We come to the Windmill Village where Miko is sad that apparently Sabo was there. And everybody's like sad to hear that he's alive. That everybody's happy. We see Doflamingo, and we also see Blackbeard. Yep, pack your bags on the ship, and if he's gonna take it, we might as well claim the prize. And apparently Kobe, yeah, he's got a new rank now. He's an admiral somehow. And we see apparently he's talking to X Drake, a guy who works for Kaido. Apparently he's a spy. Okay, apparently they're teaming up. Apparently CP0 is actually in Wano for some reason. And then we see some Marines going out. Apparently, what's the news? The desolation of the Seven Warlords is like, what? They got rid of it. Okay. So, we have the chapter end with, first we see Buggy! Yep, Buggy! For the first time since, I think the last time we was seeing the book was back during the Zoo Island arc, when he found that the giant pirates were leaving him, and he was also in the cover pages. And apparently they've been surrounded. So, he decided to flee, and then they come to Hawkeye Mihawk. Yep, he's apparently here too. First time, he's been seeing this series since Return to Sabaody. Yeah, it's been that freaking long. And then we see Edward Weevil surrounded by Marines. Apparently, that his mother is not very happy with this. Apparently, the Pirates of Relay. And then the chapter ends with return of my favorite female character of the whole series, Boa Hancock. It says, don't. It's like, we got a situation, Snake Princess. The Seven Warlords have been stripped, rights to the Seven Warlords stripped away. There were Navy ships out at sea. Don't panic. You seem to have forgotten something. The reason they chose us to be Seven Warlords. For our strength. Ooh. Always great to see Boa Hancock. First time in the manga she's been seen since Return to Sabaody, but she's appeared in like 3 cover images. One was actually recently, about 5 or 6 chapters back, but it's always great to see this character. My only guess is the reason why they brought her back in this particular chapter, and this is my personal theory. There's a few different reasons. One, she was just featured in the anime in the filler 2-parter, and she's also featured in the One Piece stamping film. And plus, also this year just has May 20th anniversary anime. This chapter is very good. I love it. I can't wait for the next chapter when it comes out next week. Unknown if the next chapter pick up right where this chapter left off, because here's the thing. This is the second time they've done this, where they have a chapter that has nothing to do with Wano. Yeah, the last time was when the previous act, when Act 1 ended for Wano, and we're going to head to Act 2, and we cut to the outside with the whole Reverie stuff. This is technically the second time they've done this. I would not be surprised if either one or two things might happen. Either one, we're going to go back to Wano and just continue with that, or two, we're going to have a continuation of this in the next chapter. It's possible. I think Boa Hancock, I don't think anything's bad going to happen to her, because, I mean, it's not just because of my female character the whole series. It's because, well, I don't think Oda wants to kill off this great character. I'm sure he has plenty of plans for this character. He just really wanted to use it for so long. Hawkeye Mihawk, it is something to see him again. I mean, his last appearance, this is probably his first appearance post-time skip since the start of this time, since he last when he escorted Zoro off. Yeah, that was, actually, no, scratch that. This is the first time he's seen, not since that, but he was also seen that last time they actually cut outside of Wano. Yeah, it was last time he was seen, but Buggy. Wow, it had been like a long time since I've seen him in the series. But yeah, fantastic chapter. I'm gonna give this chapter 9.5. I'm gonna give it a 10 out of 10. It's really, really good. It should be really exciting right now. Yeah. Though I think Boa Hancock she might hear about going to Wano. I wouldn't be surprised if she hears we're going to Wano, and she probably thinks Luffy needs some help, so she basically packs her bags, packs her stuff, and just go straight to Wano. Might take her a while, though. Even though, yes, her island's in the Calm Belt. Yes, it's in the Calm Belt. But as for where Wano is, it might take her a while to get there, unless, of course, she finds some way to get there really quickly. Yep. Otherwise, though, that's really it for this particular review. next up is a Comic Corner. Yep, and it's going to be on 2 Avenger trades. Yep, you'll find out what they are in my next Comic Corner, okay? I'm also going to do another Comic Corner, plus about 3 more anime reviews. We basically review newest episode of Boruto, newest episode released for Dragon Ball Super, and of course, well, another part of Cardcaptor Sakura, okay? But these are the next few. Bye.